Okay, I'm back. Don't know what happened there, but I lost internet totally. Had to restart everything. Gotta love rename Suddenlink into whatever the freak it's called now. I don't even know what the name of it is, but yeah. Anyway, we're running. We'll just take it as it goes. Maybe we'll last 5 minutes, maybe we'll last half hour, but we'll see. Um, I've got a bee stuck over there. Oh, there he comes. She comes. Stuck in the window. Come on. Hold on a minute. Get out. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. This way. This way. Go out. There you go. I saved a bee. Okay. Alright. See if anybody else comes back to join us. Talk a little bit about some screen bottom boards and some pheromones. A little bit about some quilt boxes. What else I got here? Candy boxes, camp method, sugar feeding. I'm talking like this because it's 86 degrees out there today, but winter's coming, I guess. And some different pheromones that they play with, the bees do. It's like a little city in there, and they all run off of different pheromones, telling them different things, doing different things, controlling different things. And it's kind of interesting. I picked out a few that I kind of thought was kind of neat, and we'll go over some of them. It's pretty interesting. You kind of wonder how they know what to do, and it's all controlled by pheromones. And they live in a total darkness world, but by smell they can basically know what to do and what not to do. Hopefully get some people joining here. Hey Paul, I see you're on there, sir. Alright, we're getting some people joining here. Okay, well, we'll just go over what our main thing was first of all, and we'll probably talk about this at the meeting a little bit too, because whether it's 85 degrees out there today, winter's coming, we do have to do some prep, so we'll be ready when it gets here. A lot of this stuff you won't put on until the middle of winter, but double screen board. Got a fella that's got a weak hive, and he's debating on whether to mix it with another one, or just, combine hives, and I suggested maybe putting it on a double screen board. And what I've got here, if I can move the camera without interrupting you guys, is a setup. I need to zoom out. Like such. We've got our deep our strong hive here, and we've got a weak hive here, and in between here we've got the double screen board. What happens is the strong hive is going to help heat up this weak hive, and together they want to share heat to get through the winter. And I'll show you this double screen board here in a minute. And on top I've just got a quilt box and an old cranky old top there on top. But that's what we're basically talking about there. And they make double screen boards. You can do several things with them. If the one I've got, all I've got is an entrance opening. I don't have one with the sliding doors. That's called a Snell Grove double screen board, and it looks like this one. And with that one, there are several things you can do. I use that one to prevent swarming, to do splits. They raise queens with it. They introduce new queens with it. Combine hives, and overwinter weak colonies. And the one hold on one second. The one I'm going to talk about is overwinter weak hives. Now the other ones you can do, and they all do it, but just opening and closing them doors at certain different times. Prevent swarming. They'll take the brood and move it to the top, and your foragers will go out the entrance, and they'll end up going back down to the bottom box, and your top box will hatch out. And then they open them doors every 4 or 5 days. They'll open the side doors, close the front one, and as the bees go in and out, up and down, every 4 or 5 days, they go out different doors, they reorientate themselves. So they don't have time to think about swarming because they're always reorientating themselves, so it gets the swarm out of their heads, basically. And you just keep opening doors. Basically how they do that. But anyway, splits, it's really simple. You just move your either your queen to the top or the bottom, whichever one you want, and the other, whichever one that doesn't have the queen, you want to put brood in it, and they will hatch the new queen out on it. And then they're separated because the whole theory is queen pheromones are called mandibular pheromones, and they can only be contacted or transferred by contact, B2B contact. Well, if you cause a space in between there where one bee can't contact the other bee, and then them boxes back here, that bottom box never knows that top box has a queen, because, well, I make mine a little wide. You don't have to make them quite this wide where I'm at here. But, and as long as they can't touch each other, you can make them an inch wide and you're still fine. And but as long as they can't touch each other to spread that pheromone, they never know they have a queen in the other box, and they live together fine. And that's with splits that other one will think it's queenless because the queen's in the bottom box, and they just build a new queen. I'm not going to focus too much on all that stuff because that's not what we're talking about. We're here to talk about ensuring the heat. And to do that, you need to make sure both top and bottom have enough resources. Not so much the top, because you can always add a candy box or sugar or something on top of the top box. Bottom box definitely have to have plenty of resources in them, because it's kind of hard to add a candy box or something on top of it, and then you're defeating the whole purpose of your double screen board because you're blocking it off. If you put candy underneath of it, there's no way for heat to get to. You're blocking your heat off. So you need to make sure that all the frames are full, you know, plenty of food for them to get through. Then you put your double screen board on. And like I said, it's got one, with the camera focused right there. And that goes on that way, and the top box sits on top of that with your frames in there. There's where your top box gets in and out of their hive. And you want to turn that to the back. Let the bottom box go out the front, and then turn that one to the back for the top box to go out the back, so they're not getting confused and going in each other's boxes and stuff like that. And with them sharing that heat, as long as you got a decent amount of bees in there to cluster and make it through the winter, they don't have to be an overly strong hive. They can, yeah, they'll make it fine. With yeah, with neighbors downstairs, heat bill. Let the neighbors downstairs pay the heat bill, and they just make it through fine. And that's pretty much how it works. You can even take your inner cover, and I had that here somewhere. What I do with it? Well, it's right here. This number 8 hardware cloth is all you basically have to have, and or you could use screen wire even, but it can't be much, no bigger than that, because I'll get through anything bigger than number 8. And just screen it off and make you some vent holes, and the heat will always go up, so you're in good shape with that. But yeah, this critter is a different animal. You can be a mad scientist with this thing. I was talking to Chip earlier, and he does it to raise queens and stuff with, and it's pretty neat. You graft a bunch of queens, you put them on top, they share the heat, and they can yeah, you can use a lot of stuff. Really interesting, a lot of stuff they use these queen boards for. I got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things I just wrote down here, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that can do other things also. And let me look here. I'm sorry if anybody's commenting. I'm not seeing anything, so I apologize if you are, because I haven't seen anything. I think we're clear. Okay. But yeah, it's pretty simple, but it saves you from taking your hive and combine it with another one and then having to kill your queen, because that little hive can make it through the winter, and then come spring, just come out there and bust wide open, and who knows, it might be one of your strongest hives next year. And you didn't lose any resources whatsoever, and you still, worst case scenario, you saved the queen for next year. So if you could do that, you're doing something. So that's not too bad. Yeah, let's go over some of the pheromones. I did that one, the mandibular pheromone, which is the queen pheromone, that lets everybody knows that the queen is in the box. Like I said, it's transmitted by touch only, and it's conducted through the jawbone of the queen. That's where it's excreted from, and the bees do it by mouth touch, and that's how they get it transferred around. That's only one of the ones. The alert pheromone, of course, we all know that one, because if you've been stung, that's where that pheromone, they throw that thing out there, and then if you don't get that thing smoked up there, they're going to sting there probably again once or twice more from the alert pheromone, or the alarm pheromone, I guess is what they call it. But there's one called the brood. There's technical names for these things, but I'm not smart enough to read them, so I gave them little nicknames. Brood recognition pheromone. It's the scent that the brood lets off, that also lets the bees know there's a laying queen in there, and it prevents you from having a laying worker. And it also helps you to stop a laying worker sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes if you catch them early enough. Their drone pheromone, it puts off, and it helps drones to different mating areas that they go to. It helps them locate them. This one's a weird one. It's called the do-for gland. Nicknamed the egg marker pheromone. When the queen lays an egg, as she lays it out, it gets marked with a certain pheromone, with a scent, so that the nurse bees knows that that egg was laid by the queen. Now, if you got a laying worker, they don't have that pheromone, and a lot of times the nurse bees will just, well, a lot of times, in fact, so the nurse bees won't take care of that egg, and they just pass it by. But the worker bees has a way to mimic that pheromone every so often. They can simulate that, and they'll mark them sometimes, and they will take care of those. So that's why you see when you got a laying worker, you've got spotty brood everywhere. A lot of people think it's because, well, a laying worker, which they do sometimes, they lay spotty brood. But a lot of times you look, they've got a pretty good pattern of brood laying, but they don't have that marker pheromone on all them eggs, and they don't take care of them, so they won't cap them. So you've still got spotty capped brood there, but it's mostly because they don't have that do-for gland on them to mark it, and so they won't take care of it if they don't have that pheromone on them. So basically, spotty brood from worker drone is actually made from not being marked from pheromones instead of laying spotty brood. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Forager pheromones, they put out a pheromone themselves, and it's to slow down the maturing of the nurse bees. Because they mature too fast, they become foragers. And you've got to keep that ratio at a certain percentage, so you've got enough nurse bees in the hive. You've got to keep it well balanced in there on that thing. As they die off, the pheromone weakens, nurse bees will increase aging, and then they'll become foragers, and then your balance comes back up again. So yeah, it's kind of neat how all these chemicals these things put off. Nasinoff pheromone, worker bees have it, and they use it for reorientation. And there's several others. There's rectal, there's a tarsal, there's a comb pheromone, there's a pterygoid pheromone, there's a wax pheromone. There's I don't know, probably 40 some different pheromones that these bees put off. And oh, you're having trouble with the video? Darn internet. No, I can't see it on my end. Let me check. I'm sorry. This freaking internet. Is it freezing up? Can you can you guys hear me okay, or am I locking up there too? You know, I've got Optimum, and I pay for the good stuff too, and that's what really torques you off, is because you still got crappy internet. But yeah, that was a little lesson on pheromones. If you could hear me or not, I don't know. If you don't, we'll probably go over it again at the meeting. So, but quilt boxes are these things here. It's basically just a ventilated box. You put shavings in, and it's wire on the bottom. A lot of people put a piece of material underneath that to keep the dust off the bees, and you fill it full of shavings. The best way to get them, because I take that one I just showed you right there, it's Manna Lake, and it's $50 for that stupid thing. I might have a couple here. I don't have hardly any of them. And when I have them, I think I sell them for $25, but I just don't have any. Your best bet, if you don't have one, come down by a medium box, drill the holes in the side of them, and yeah, and then wire the bottom of it, and it works better than anything else, and you've got less than $25 in it that way. You just got to do a little work. I'm freezing up again, aren't I? I think maybe I'm back. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. It's worked fine all day until we do this. And then they make candy boards, either like this style, and you just mix up your sugar mixture and you put it in there, let it harden. It becomes hard candy, and they'll eat their way through the wire and they'll get to it. Or you can do it the way I do it, with newspaper, and just pour the sugar on top. Spray mist the sugar on top, and it'll keep all the sugar together. Leave enough on each edge for the bees to come up around and eat the sugar, and they'll eat through the paper at the bottom, and they'll eat that also. It's the easiest way to do it. And they'll eat that sugar before they will the honey a lot of times if you put it in too early. So you want to make sure you put it in enough time. And I'm freezing up again. I'm going to switch. I have the luxury of 2 internets here. I'm going to switch internet and see if I get a better signal. I'll be offline for just a second.